In the history of mankind, there are many kings, many queens, many rulers. Some ruled lands, some ruled armies, some ruled nations, but only a few ruled hearts. And among those rare souls stands the name of a woman who lived inside the palace of the greatest tyrant on earth, yet her heart belonged only to Allah. This is the story of faith under torture, patience under repression, light inside darkness. This is the story of Hazrat Asiya bint Muzahim, R.A., the wife of Pharaoh and one of the greatest women who ever lived. Her birth and early life. Hazrat Asiya was born into a noble and respected family in Egypt. Her father, Muzahim, was known as a dignified and honorable man. She grew up surrounded by comfort, culture, and refinement. Unlike many children of noble households, she was not arrogant, nor proud, nor cruel. Even as a young girl, she showed signs of something special. She was gentle. She was compassionate. She felt pain when others suffered. Servants in the house would later recall that she never spoke harshly to anyone. She would share her food, help the weak, and defend the oppressed. It was as if Allah had already placed mercy in her heart long before she knew Him fully. While other girls admired jewelry and luxury, Asiya often looked toward the sky in silence, as if her soul was searching for something beyond this world. No one knew then that this quiet, soft-hearted girl would one day become a symbol of faith for all believers until the day of judgment. Marriage to Pharaoh, a test disguised as honor. As she grew older, her beauty, wisdom, and noble character became known across Egypt. Eventually, news of her reached the palace of Pharaoh, the most powerful ruler of that time. Pharaoh was not just a king, he was a tyrant who claimed, "I am your Lord, the Most High." He demanded people worship him. He oppressed the weak. He killed innocent children. He enslaved nations. Yet he wanted Asiya as his queen. For her family, this proposal seemed like the greatest honor possible. Who would refuse marriage into the royal palace? Who would reject becoming queen of the strongest empire on earth? And so, she was married to Pharaoh. The wedding was magnificent. The palace glittered with gold. Servants lined the halls. Jewels sparkled. Music echoed. People celebrated. Outwardly, it was a dream life. But inwardly, it was the beginning of her greatest test. Because the palace she entered was not a home. It was a prison of disbelief. Life inside the palace. Inside Pharaoh's palace, luxury existed beyond imagination. Floors made of polished marble, curtains woven with gold threads, perfumes imported from distant lands, rivers flowing through royal gardens, servants waiting at every command. Anything she wished for, she could have. But something was missing. Peace. Asiya began to notice Pharaoh's cruelty more closely. She saw how he punished people without mercy. She heard cries from prisoners. She watched soldiers drag away innocent men. She saw mothers weeping for their children, and each time her heart trembled. She would ask herself, how can a man who calls himself God be so merciless? Her soul rejected his arrogance. Her nature refused his tyranny. Though she lived beside him, her heart was never with him. She smiled when required. She spoke when necessary. She fulfilled her duties as queen. But deep inside, she was waiting for truth. She didn't yet know what that truth was, but Allah was preparing her heart for it. The day that changed history. One morning, palace servants rushed toward the river Nile. Something unusual was floating on the water, a small wooden chest drifting with the current. They pulled it out and brought it to the palace. Inside the chest was a baby boy, beautiful, calm, radiant. This was no ordinary child. This was Musa, A.S., the prophet chosen by Allah, though no one knew it yet. When Pharaoh saw the baby, he ordered, "Kill him." But before anyone could act, Asiya stepped forward. With courage, gentleness, and urgency in her voice, she said, "Do not kill him. He will be a comfort for my eyes and yours. Perhaps he may benefit us, or we may adopt him as a son." Those words changed history. Pharaoh agreed, and the child was spared. In that moment, Allah planted the seed of faith in Asiya's heart. She didn't just save a baby, she saved a prophet. Raising Musa, A.S. From that day on, Asiya personally cared for Musa. She held him, fed him, comforted him, and loved him as if he were her own child. Whenever she looked at him, she felt peace she had never felt before. His presence filled the palace with a strange calmness. Servants noticed that when he smiled, the atmosphere softened. When he slept, the room felt tranquil. When he cried, hearts trembled. Asiya's attachment to him grew stronger each day. But this was not ordinary love. This was divine preparation, because the baby she was raising would one day stand against Pharaoh himself, and she would stand with him. A heart slowly awakening. Years passed. Musa grew, and with every passing year, Asiya's heart became more certain that Pharaoh was not divine and never could be. She watched Musa's character, his honesty, his dignity, his courage, his truthfulness. She saw light in him, a light that did not belong to ordinary humans. And deep inside, a realization began forming. Truth is not in the throne. Truth is in the message. She had not yet openly declared faith, but her heart had already believed. And once faith enters a heart, no king on earth can remove it. End of Part 1. Suspense tone. Little did she know, the same child she saved from death would soon return as a prophet of Allah. And when that day would come, she would have to choose the palace or paradise. Years passed. The child who once floated helplessly in a river was now a grown man walking with strength, dignity, and truth in his eyes. Musa alayhi salam had left Egypt years earlier, and now he was returning. But he was not returning as the adopted prince of the palace. He was returning as a prophet of Allah. And his return would shake the throne of Pharaoh and test the faith of the woman who had once saved him from death. The return of Musa alayhi salam. One day, news spread throughout Egypt. A man had come claiming to be a messenger from the Lord of all worlds. He was calling people to worship only Allah and to reject Pharaoh's claim of divinity. Crowds gathered, soldiers listened, ministers whispered, the palace trembled with rumors. Then came the shocking truth. The man was Musa, the same child raised in Pharaoh's palace, the same boy Asiya had loved like her own. Pharaoh's pride burned with rage. "How dare he thundered. "How dare someone raised in my palace speak against me?" But Musa alayhi salam did not fear him. With calm strength, he stood before Pharaoh and declared, "I am a messenger from the Lord of all worlds." The court fell silent. No one had ever spoken to Pharaoh like that. Asiya watched in silence. Asiya stood behind the royal curtain, watching everything unfold. Her heart pounded, her eyes fixed on Musa alayhi salam. There was no doubt now. The light she had seen in him as a child was the light of prophethood. When Musa spoke of Allah, her soul recognized the truth instantly, like a thirsty land recognizing rain. She realized this is the truth she had been waiting for all her life. Not Pharaoh, not the palace, not the crown, but Allah. In that moment, silently, secretly, sincerely, Asiya believed. No one heard her declaration, no one saw her faith, but Allah did, and that was enough. The war between truth and pride. Pharaoh, blinded by arrogance, demanded miracles as proof. By Allah's command, Musa threw his staff and it turned into a living serpent. Gasps filled the hall. Then Musa placed his hand inside his cloak and pulled it out, shining with divine light. The courtiers stepped back in fear. Even Pharaoh felt a flicker of doubt. But pride is stronger than doubt when the heart is sealed. Instead of accepting truth, Pharaoh called it magic. He summoned the greatest magicians of Egypt to defeat Musa publicly. The Day of the Magicians. On the appointed day, crowds gathered from across Egypt. It was like a festival. People stood shoulder to shoulder, waiting to witness the contest between Musa and the magicians. The magicians threw their ropes and staffs. They appeared as moving snakes. The crowd gasped in amazement. Then Musa threw his staff. It became a real serpent, massive and powerful, and swallowed their illusions instantly. Silence fell. The magicians knew magic better than anyone. They recognized the truth immediately. This was not magic. This was a miracle from Allah. At once, they fell into prostration and declared, "We believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun." Pharaoh's face turned red with fury. He screamed, "You believed before I gave permission?" He ordered their hands and feet cut off and had them crucified. Yet even as they were executed, they smiled because they had found truth. Mercy tempered judgment. From her chamber, Asiya witnessed everything. She saw the magicians accept faith without fear. She saw them face death with peace. And her heart whispered, "If they can stand for truth, why can't I?" Her faith grew stronger. Her certainty became unshakable. She began praying secretly to Allah. In the silence of the palace, while servants slept, while guards stood outside, she would raise her hands and whisper, "O Lord of Musa, guide me, keep me firm, save me from Pharaoh." No crown, no throne, no jewel had ever given her the peace she felt in those secret prayers. A believer in the house of a tyrant. Living as a believer inside Pharaoh's palace was like holding a candle in a storm. Every day was danger. Every word was risk. Every breath required courage. Pharaoh hated believers. He punished anyone who mentioned Allah. He considered faith a rebellion against his authority. Yet, right inside his own palace, sat a woman whose heart belonged completely to Allah. She continued her royal duties so no one would suspect her. She attended court. She spoke with ministers. She walked the halls like a queen. But inside, she was a servant of Allah. And Allah loved her for it. The secret strength of faith. Faith does not always roar like thunder. Sometimes faith whispers. It whispers in the night. It whispers in prayers. It whispers inside hearts that only Allah can hear. Asiya's faith was like that, silent but stronger than mountains. She knew that if Pharaoh discovered her belief, he would not spare her. She had seen what he did to believers. She had seen blood on palace floors. She had heard screams echo through the halls. Yet she did not step back. Because when faith becomes real, fear disappears. The beginning of her trial. But secrets do not stay hidden forever. One day, whispers began spreading among palace servants. They had noticed something different about the queen. She prayed often. She avoided praising Pharaoh. She spoke about justice. She mentioned the Lord of the heavens. Suspicion grew, and eventually, those whispers reached Pharaoh. At first, he refused to believe it. "My wife, a follower of Musa?" he said angrily. "Impossible." But doubt had entered his mind. And when doubt enters the mind of a tyrant, cruelty soon follows.
Truth and falsehood can never live together for long. Sooner or later, one must confront the other. And in the palace of Pharaoh, that moment had arrived. The whispers had reached him. The doubts had entered his mind. The suspicion had taken root in his heart. And when a tyrant becomes suspicious, mercy disappears. Pharaoh's suspicion. Pharaoh began watching Asiya closely. He noticed her silence when he was praised. He noticed her calmness when he spoke arrogantly. He noticed that she no longer admired his power like before. Her eyes no longer reflected awe, they reflected certainty. One evening, he summoned her to the royal court. The hall was silent. Torches burned along the walls. Guards stood like statues. Ministers watched nervously. Pharaoh sat on his throne and stared at her. Then he asked slowly, "Is it true that you believe in the Lord of Musa?" The room froze. Servants stopped breathing. Courtiers lowered their gaze. This was not a question. This was a trial. The moment of truth. Asiya knew this moment would come. She knew there was no escape. She could lie and save her life, or she could speak truth and risk everything. Her heart whispered, "Allah is watching." She lifted her gaze. Her voice was calm. Her words were firm, and she said, "Yes, I believe in the Lord of Musa and the Lord of all creation." The hall erupted in shock. No one had ever spoken to Pharaoh like that, especially not his own wife. Pharaoh's face twisted with rage. "How dare you reject me?" he roared. "I am your Lord." But Asiya did not tremble, because when someone knows the true Lord, false gods lose all power. The tyrant's fury. Pharaoh stood up, shaking with anger. He shouted, "Renounce Musa's Lord, or you will face punishment beyond imagination." Silence. Asiya's answer did not change. "I will never deny my Lord." Those words struck Pharaoh harder than any weapon. He could defeat armies, he could crush nations, he could silence crowds, but he could not control one believing heart. And that is what enraged him most. The torture begins. Pharaoh ordered his soldiers, "Take her away." They dragged the queen, the same queen who once walked those halls in honor, out into the scorching desert. They tied her hands and feet with ropes. They laid her on burning sand under the blazing sun. Hours passed. The heat scorched her skin. The ground burned her body. Her lips dried from thirst, but her heart remained cool with faith. Pharaoh came to her and said, "Leave your lord, and I will return you to your palace." She replied softly, "My palace is with Allah." His rage intensified. Cruelty without limits.
he ordered heavier punishment. Soldiers stretched her limbs and tied them to stakes. The sun beat down mercilessly. Sweat mixed with dust. Her body weakened, but her faith strengthened. Each time he returned, he gave her the same choice: choose me or choose Musa's Lord. And every time she answered, I choose Allah. Her voice grew weaker, but her certainty grew stronger. Heavenly help. It is narrated in Islamic traditions that during her torture, angels shaded her from the sun. While people saw a helpless woman lying on sand, the heavens saw a queen of faith. Allah does not abandon those who stand for Him. The more Pharaoh punished her, the closer she came to her Lord. The moment Pharaoh realized something terrifying. He could torture her body, but he could not touch her soul. Her peace frightened him. Her patience defeated him. Her faith exposed his weakness, because a tyrant's greatest fear is a believer who is not afraid. The prayer that reached the heavens. At the peak of her suffering, when pain surrounded her from every side, Asiya lifted her eyes towards the sky. Her voice trembled, not from fear of Pharaoh, but from longing for Allah. And she made the dua that Allah Himself placed in the Quran, so her words would live forever. My Lord, build for me near you a house in paradise, and save me from Pharaoh and his deeds, and save me from the wrongdoing people. Surah At-Tahrim 66:11. Notice her words carefully. She did not ask for the torture to stop. She did not ask for revenge. She asked for one thing only: nearness to Allah. That is the level her faith had reached. Why her story is eternal. Millions of people lived in Pharaoh's time. Thousands saw his power. Hundreds feared his punishment. But only one woman became an example in the Quran for all believers until the day of judgment. Not because she was a queen, not because she was rich, not because she was powerful, but because she chose Allah over everything. At that moment, the palace she once lived in meant nothing. The crown she once wore meant nothing. The world she once possessed meant nothing, because when the heart sees paradise, earth loses its value. Pharaoh, humiliated and furious, gave his final command: if she refuses to return to my religion, crush her. Soldiers prepared a massive stone. They lifted it slowly above her body. The sky was silent. The earth was still. History held its breath. And the next moment would decide everything.
The desert stood silent. The wind had stopped. The soldiers held their breath. Above the fragile body of a tortured woman, a massive stone hung in the air. This was the command of Pharaoh, the most powerful king on earth, about to crush the weakest body before him. But what he did not know was that heaven was already watching. The final moment before martyrdom. Hazrat Asiya R.A. lay on the burning sand, her hands tied, her feet bound, her body wounded, her strength fading. The sun scorched her skin, dust clung to her face, pain surrounded her from every side. Yet her eyes were not looking at the soldiers. They were not looking at Pharaoh. They were looking at the sky, because her heart was somewhere else. A vision from Allah. In that moment of ultimate suffering, Allah granted her a gift. The veils between this world and the unseen were lifted, and she saw it. Her home in paradise. Not imagined, not dreamed, seen with her own eyes. A palace more beautiful than any palace of Egypt.
gardens greener than any royal garden, light brighter than any jewel she had ever worn. And she realized something. The palace she left for Allah was being replaced by a palace from Allah. The smile that defeated a tyrant. As the soldiers prepared to drop the stone, they noticed something strange. She was smiling, not crying, not screaming, smiling. Pharaoh shouted angrily, "Why is she smiling?" But she was no longer looking at them. She was looking at her place in Jannah. At that moment, pain no longer mattered. Fear no longer existed. The world no longer held her. Because when Allah shows a believer their place in paradise, death becomes a doorway, not an ending. Her soul returns to Allah. It is narrated in Islamic traditions that before the stone could even fall, Allah took her soul, gently, mercifully, honorably. The stone fell, but it no longer touched a living body. Her soul had already risen above the desert, above the palace, above Pharaoh's throne, above the sky, risen to the one she had chosen over everything. Who truly won? Pharaoh stood there thinking he had won. He believed he had destroyed her. He believed he had proven his power. But history would prove the opposite. Because today, no one praises Pharaoh. No one admires Pharaoh. No one names their children after Pharaoh. But millions honor the name Asiya. The tyrant is remembered with hatred. The believer is remembered with love. That is how Allah writes history. Her rank in Islam. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ later said, "Among the most perfect women are Maryam, daughter of Imran, Asiya, wife of Pharaoh, Khadija, daughter of Khuwailid, and Fatima, daughter of Muhammad." Think about that. She lived thousands of years before the Prophet, yet her name was mentioned by him with honor. Her story was placed in the Quran. Her faith became an example for every believer until the end of time. Why? Because she proved something rare, that true faith does not depend on surroundings. She lived in the palace of disbelief, yet her heart lived in the gardens of belief. Lessons from her life. Her story is not just history, it is a message, a lesson, a mirror for every believer. She teaches us faith is stronger than fear, truth is stronger than power, patience is stronger than torture, and Allah's reward is greater than the world. She had everything people dream of: wealth, status, luxury, authority. Yet she gave it all up for something she had never seen with her eyes before: Jannah. And Allah showed it to her before she died. A message for every oppressed heart. There are people today who feel trapped in hardship, trapped in Zoom, trapped in pain, trapped in injustice. Hazrat Asiya's story whispers to them, you are not alone. Allah sees you. Allah hears you. Allah knows your patience. And just like He prepared paradise for her, He is preparing something for you too. No zulm lasts forever. No tyrant lives forever. No hardship remains forever. But Allah's reward lasts forever. She was a queen who left a throne for sujood. She was a wife who chose Allah over her husband. She was weak in body, but stronger than a king in faith. And that is why history remembers her not as Pharaoh's wife, but as the woman of paradise. If this story touched your heart, like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and comment below, "Faith is stronger than fear," because maybe someone reading your comment is fighting a battle only Allah knows.